Bill 597. My name is Stechschulte, and I'm here today to share my concerns about Common Core and the atmosphere it's created in the schools. I'm a mother of 2 children, one entering 2nd grade and one in preschool. We live in a very small town in northwestern Ohio with one of the smallest and best school districts in the state. I moved here from Columbus when I married my husband because I believe this community and school would be a wonderful place to raise our children. I first heard about Common Core briefly during my oldest child's kindergarten orientation. At that time, it was presented as an emphasis on reading and computer skills. Once school started, I quickly realized that there was more to it than just that. The Ohio Department of Education states that Common Core is only a set of standards, but I beg to differ. Common Core has ushered in more than just a set of standards into our children's classrooms. It's changed the entire educational system. This system is one in which we push large amounts of data onto children, teach them how to become test takers, and then use their results to either punish or reward educators in schools. I've seen this in the last 2 years of my child's education. Even though our school was just making the transition into Common Core standards, I was amazed at the amount of worksheets and readers that my kindergarten child was bringing home, a far cry from the play learning I grew up with. I was also taken aback with how much pressure there was to push through material. After sitting in a class diligently for a full school day, my 5-year-old often had little attention left. However, she was expected to work on anywhere from 1 to 3 assignments for homework. All this in just kindergarten. Last year, the pressure was on to read, read, read. Yes, reading is good, but children need play, creativity, exercise, and interaction. At this young age, they have difficulty devoting this much time into scholastics. I'm not an expert, but there are several experts that would agree. I would like to paraphrase an article from the Washington Post with Carol Burris, Southside High School principal in New York. She says, when I first read about Common Core state standards, I cheered. I believe that our schools should teach all students the skills, habits, and knowledge they need to be successful in post-secondary education. She says that she was naive and should have known in an age in which standardized tests direct teaching and learning that the standards themselves would quickly become operationalized by tests. Testing coupled with the evaluation of teachers by scores is driving its implementation. Many of the teachers in her high school are also the parents of young children. They come to her with horror stories regarding the incessant pre-testing, testing, and test prep that's taking place in their own children's classrooms. She speaks about an English teacher that came to her with a reading test that her 3rd grade daughter took and did poorly on. As both a mother and an English teacher, she knew that the difficulty of the passage and the questions were way above her daughter's grade level. Her daughter, who is an excellent reader, was crushed. Carol said she was even more deeply troubled that this wonderful little girl was being subjected to a distortion of what her primary education should be. This new system has created an environment of insurmountable pressure on today's youth. They're expected to follow a new set of standards, using new curriculum aligned to those standards, be assessed with a test yet to be finalized, and might I add, educators will not and have not seen. And then the results of those assessments will not only play a part in their future education, their, quote, career readiness, but also teacher and school evaluations. I ask you this. You're an adult. Could you handle the pressure that would come with the balance of many people's livelihoods based on how well you digest and regurgitate facts on one day of the year? Even if children are unaware of the consequences of their tests, they'll feel the pressure. Kate Hurley, child psychotherapist and parenting expert, wrote an article for Huffington Post detailing 5 reasons that Common Core is ruining childhood. They are as follows. No time to decompress. Kids come home and dive right into homework. Lack of creativity. Inadequate time to socialize. Poor eating habits and exercise due to short lunch periods and recesses. And increased stress. She has a 6-year-old and is seeing the effects in her own home. In the article, she also discussed that increased tests are creating increased anxiety and stress disorders in children. Both of these experts see that Common Core is more than just a set of standards, and there are many more experts that agree. I recently met with our school's principal regarding my concerns about Common Core standards driving the curriculum, testing, and atmosphere in our schools. I was amazed at how little in this system he can control. He admitted they chose to keep the pre-Common Core textbook editions and chose to supplement materials to meet standards. When I asked if this would prepare students for the assessments, I was told they were hopeful it would, but the PARCC assessment is still being developed. As a concerned parent, I wondered if they viewed the PARCC assessment, even in a partial state, and I was informed that administrators and teachers were not privy to material on the PARCC assessments. They said that their hands are quote tied when it comes to the assessments and standards. The state chooses the standards and what assessments will be used. I found myself wondering why I moved to a small town with a superior school system, now that all schools will be the same. I came here because it is a conservative community with small class sizes. They have an outstanding graduating percentage and equally impressive rate of graduates going on to colleges and into successful professions. Instead of the personal attention my children would have been afforded, we have to put a large amount of information that's often above their maturity level. Then they have to be prepped and tested to see if they can regurgitate what they've been taught. All this so their results can be compared to other students and used to evaluate our schools and administration. That brings me here today. I understand that there's a level for you that can restore our local control. It will replace Common Core with tested, proven, high-quality, developmentally appropriate standards. It will remove excessive testing and evaluations based on testing. In short, it can restore the excellent schools and educational experience in Ohio. I come here asking you and thanking you for your support in improving my children's education and school experience. Our children deserve better. They deserve an education that not only prepares them to be successful in life, but that can build their confidence as well. Not a system that teaches them to prepare for tests and fear outcomes. Let me leave you with this quote from one of the world's greatest minds, Albert Einstein. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Stechschulte.